Hello there everyone and welcome to Arch of Flowers layering guide video. So first up I have stamped the image from the stamp set onto a piece of white cardstock using some black ink. I'm then going to take the first stencil and I'm just going to pop this into place on the leaves onto the left hand side of the image. This will pop into place really easily. So for the leaves over here I will be using the grass field ink to add the colour. I'm just using a small blending tool, but you could use whichever blending tool you find works best for you. So once I'm done with that, I'm then just going to shift that stencil up and then I'm just going to add into place onto the rest of the leaves that we have on the right hand side. So I'm just going to be using the same ink as before, so that grass field ink, to add in all of those beautiful little leaves there. Once that's done, I can then shift this stencil over a little bit and I'm just going to pop this into place onto those flower centers and those little buds that we have just on the left hand side. I will be using the fresh lemon ink to add the ink through there. I can then move the stencil over slightly and I'm just going to add in the other flower centers using the same ink as before. I'm then going to move on to the second stencil and I'm going to be going into the little buds that we have first. So for the first part of this one I will be using some dewdrops ink. Once that has been done, I'm just going to move that over slightly and then add the other little petals into place. This time I'll be using the Aqualicious ink, so I'm just going to use a detailed blending tool to add that in there. I can then turn the stencil slightly. I'm going to add in the first little petal, the one in the middle, as before, using the dewdrops ink and a detailed blending tool. I can then move the stencil up slightly, add the rest of the petals into place, and I'm going to be using the Aqualicious ink to add in those other petals at the bottom. I'm then just going to move the stencil over again and we're going to colour in this last bud on the side, and I'll be using the same colours as before, so I'll be using the dewdrops for two of the little petals, moving the stencil over a little tiny bit, and then I'll be adding these other two petals in using the Aqualicious ink. So once I finished with the smaller flowers, I'm then going to move on to the larger flowers that we have. So I'm just going to turn that stencil around slightly and then pop that into place onto the two flowers that we have on the left hand side. And this is going to colour in half of the petals here. So for half of the petals, I will be using the pink diamond ink, and I'm just using a little blending tool just to add that colour in. I'm then just going to turn the stencil a little bit and then add in half of the petals of the other side of the flowers on the right hand side. So again, as before, I will be using the pink diamond ink to add in colour to these ones. I'm then going to shift that stencil over and then add in the rest of the petals for the right hand side flowers. For these ones, I will be using the Pinkalicious ink to add those in. I'm just going to turn this stencil slightly, add in the rest of the petals, and again, Pinkalicious ink for this has been used. So that is all of the layering complete for this one. We really do hope this helps. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye.